Larson, and I'm new to the group, so hello. And I am actually by day I'm an architect, so I draw a lot, but often I don't always get to draw what I want to draw. I have to draw which project I'm working on and details and sometimes technical stuff. So I picked up this book, I want to say it was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it kind of really opened my mind to the fact that I don't need to always draw buildings and just draw what I'm told.
Do you want to go ahead and say the name of the book and the...
Yep, this is by Danny Gregory. It is an illustrated life. And so just looking through it, and I actually kind of keep this by my bedside, so it's always by it's been there for the past 4 to 5 years now, just like as constant inspiration. Yeah, for stuff to draw beyond buildings and be able to just draw what I want to draw and draw it how I want to draw it every now and then. Lately, I've kind of gone away from buildings, and I love backpacking and hiking, so I've been kind of studying some of the people who do more nature work recently. And kind of to tie in with that, I recently got back from like a 9-day, which turned into an actual 6-day backpacking trip. And the goal is to do 1 sketch a day. Just sit down, sketch, which proved difficult sometimes because the other people I'm with aren't sketching. So sometimes they'd get like partially finished and then I'd have to finish them up later. But I started by doing just a few different maps. This is the trail that we were on. We were in North Dakota. And then some of the early sketches through the day, just 1 per day. And so I'm still finishing up. Obviously this one I have to finish up. And I did also kind of work on drawing a few people, etc. So all not buildings. And I think the other thing that I've been working on this summer is I love to cyber stalk other people and their work online and their blogs. And so I've always realized we're all so busy. And I started a blog like 2 years ago, and then of course did nothing with it, and so it ended up being a bunch of architecture stuff, of course. But I recently picked up this book, Blogging for Creatives, which is also another way of journaling. And I like to think of myself as I'm actually normally very tech savvy. Like I know how to do a lot of things in full CS3 suite or Adobe Suite and all these different 3D modeling programs. But now, reading through this has kind of opened this whole other world to me of a new language of programming and CSS script to really be able to get the blog to read the way I would want it to read. So it's actually kind of turned into a lot of work. The funny thing is, like, the more you do something, the more you get into it, the more you realize, oh my gosh, this is really, really quite serious. So, but that being said, I've actually really enjoyed the easy graphics, the way she breaks it down, the way she just looks at blogging, like from a marketing standpoint, from a post standpoint, from a way to connect with your readers, and I'm really enjoying all the tons of different really good graphic layouts for blogs. They're all, quite a few of them I've actually gone online and checked, and they're still there, and they've been updated, and they look even more better. So I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from that. And learning that all of these beautiful blogs are also coded. They're not just the basic blogger format, which is another book that's on order at the moment. And I think my last book, which kind of was one of the books that kind of took off from both of these things, is working with type. And this actually just came in the mail today, so I haven't been able to look through it. Why I picked this one though is because I kind of find type as being one of my weaknesses. I don't feel like I really completely understand it. I feel like it's this whole other world, and I find like my default is, well, Arial, X many points, that works, okay, everybody can read it. It's like one of the standard architecture fonts that we like to use. It's, it's like it's the quick fix. So reading through this and looking at everybody's blog and all the beautiful typefaces that they have on there, kind of inspired me to be like, okay, you know what, I actually want to learn a little bit more about this and understand how the words and how they look, they start to affect the post and the work that I'm doing.
Hi, my name is Brianna Getson, and I am a book lover, so this is an exciting night for me. My first book to share is Acrylic Techniques in Mixed Media. It's a new book by Roxanne Paget. She is a mixed media artist. I believe she lives out in California, and here's just a little quick peek of a bookmaking project that she has in here. Her approach is very fun, loose. I think she might work with children, so her tools that she uses are easily found around your house, you know, foam pieces or a piece of twine or whatever to make prints, lots of alphabets, and a variety of craft paint. The second book is One Artist Journal by Orly Avenary. I believe she incorporates graphic design with her visual journals, which is a really interesting approach. Not something I'm real familiar with, but she does an excellent job. And I know she teaches workshops around the country, or maybe even around the world. Originally she's from Israel. So that's a really fun visual journal book. And then for painting, this is a new book by Flora Bowley, Brave Intuitive Painting, Let Go, Be Bold, Unfold. And she has an online workshop that this book is based on. And her paintings are just amazing, lots of bold colors. She has a very unique style. Here she is, she's just kind of a fun, free-flowing gal, and her paintings reflect that, and I like that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane Remington, and I'm new to the group, and tonight I came here because I'm a painter and I want to do some journaling. I'm going to Europe, and I wanted to bring my paints, but it was too cumbersome. And then I thought the journaling would be a nice record of what I would want to do. One of the things I am particularly interested in is putting people in your paintings. And so I got this book, Putting People in Your Paintings, and it's more of a gesture drawings, and they're fun and they're quick. And so I actually tried, you know, some of the gesture drawings and to see how quickly I could do them, and I brought those along. Here's a few samples, so that if I'm sitting at a restaurant or if I'm out and about, I can just grab, you know, my pencil or watercolor and a number of things, and have a small little bag of tools and put together some of the things that I am seeing, you know, rather than getting into the particular portraits and that I usually am pretty fond of doing. And so these are some of the drawings I'd like to do in my journal. I also like landscape, like somebody else had mentioned, and I just wanted to get back into doing drawings with landscape. And so I have this book, and it's The Fundamentals of Drawing, a complete professional course for artists, and it's Barrington Barber, and painting and drawing are really quite different. And so I thought with colored pencil and that I would like to work on some of the landscape and that as I'm traveling through the country. The third book I have is Pencil Drawing Techniques, and I like this, it showing how to simplify landscapes, and if you're going to do them very quickly, and to record what you want to bring back. And I like to practice that simplification because I overwork things, and so I thought journaling would be a nice way to do this. And so this is a workbook on it, and it's Pencil Drawing Techniques, and it's edited by David Lewis.
Hi, I'm Ruth Smith. I picked 3 books that I picked up while traveling and visiting museums in Europe, and I tried to figure out what I would show and how they inspired me. Basically, I went on that trip right before I met Roz, and there's a reason I went in seek of Roz, maybe not knowing it was Roz, but these are the books and the museums that I went to that kind of inspired me to join this group. So my first one This was an exhibition of Turner that was put out by the Tate Gallery, which is where a lot of his stuff is. I also have another book from the National Gallery in London, and actually the first time I ever sketched in public, I sat down and sketched one of Turner's watercolors and ended up drawing a crowd of other people sketching. So it was kind of fun. So this, I could open to any page in here and would be inspired. He's one of my favorite artists. So. The second one, I went to the Louvre in Paris. This was all in the same trip. I was in Europe for about 3 months. And this book has, I think, what to me, part of the reason that I liked this book, this is a book on the Delacroix, and I apologize, my French is horrible. Their holdings there, but they showed a lot, this book has a lot of sketchbook, things like this in here. So this to me was an opportunity to see like a finished work and then realize it didn't all start that way. And so it was a little less frightening and a little more accessible to me, and that it didn't all have to be perfect and finished, and it was an exploration. And so that was kind of neat. And then this is my favorite. This translates to watercolor workshop and outdoor, and this is from the d'Orsay Museum, and they were having a special exhibition just of artists' sketchbooks of all the wonderful people that they have normally in the d'Orsay. I didn't know how lucky I was at the time, but I did feel that I needed to buy this book while I was there, and other than the catalog, every single page in here is some, sketchbooks of various people. And some of them are very finished, and some of them are very loose and unfinished. So for me, it isn't necessarily about what the book is, but it was the inspiration to see other people's sketchbooks.
Hi, my name is Marcia Misick, and I brought 3 books. 2 of them are about materials. First one is Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Art Materials by Ian Sidaway. And it's generic. It describes different materials. And here's an example on oil pastels and paint sticks. And it tells the attributes, the characteristics, the advantages, the disadvantages, and the cost on both mediums. And then it gives a little something about the differences between the 2 of them. If you think, boy, they kind of sound alike, this will tell you, it tells you how they're different. What I don't like very much about it is that it doesn't really say, well, Roz Stendahl's oil pastels are better than Ruth Smith's, or vice versa. So you're given some general information to kind of start you on your way. Now the next one.
I don't have any oil pastels, by the way.
Right.
And neither does Ruth. We neither of us have a line, but yeah.
The next one is the Pen and Ink book by Joseph A. Smith, and it names names. So in the front part of the book, it talks about all different kinds of pens and inks and other materials, and it actually says so-and-so is better than such and such. And if you're lucky enough to have a place like Wet Paint where you can go and have actually so-and-so and such, you can make a choice. The other nice thing about this is that in the back, it's got some beautiful, beautiful examples of various different artists and their techniques and what they've done with pen and ink, which is quite inspirational. And then the third book I brought, this is a reproduction of plants and their applications to ornament, which you know I love, by Eugene Grasset. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce either one of his names. And is put out by Chronicle. And he was an architect and a teacher in the beginning of the Art Nouveau era, and he would put out a general drawing of the plant, and then he would put it in ornamental situations, different takes on the plant. Here's the Crown Imperial. I don't even know what that flower is. But there are bunches of these. These just amazing, amazing. And Eugene, Eugene, Grasset, Grasset. And then here is just a little thing where I was doing a border with just a plain leaf in a circle. I'm much looser than Mr. Grasset. And then here is a piece of stationery I did for my lake place. Again, doing borders with plants, and in this case, animals too. Thank you.
My name is Judith Main, and the first book I brought is called A Trail Through Leaves by Hannah Hinchman. And this is from quite a while ago, but this book really inspired me to go from doing kind of watercolor landscapes to really feel like I could put them together in a book and make it into a journal. And also she really has inspired me to get out there in the outside world and just discover things. And she has all kinds of interesting little examples in her journal of things snow does, and another one with all kinds of little small thumbnails of like water striders on a pond and what water does, and it just sort of gave me permission to just do whatever interested me out in the world. And I guess I have a little bit of examples of doing nature journals and just getting intrigued with a pile of acorns, or just basically whatever struck my fancy. Another book that's related is called Keeping a Nature Journal by Claire Walker Leslie. And this also is the same kind of approach in a way, but it gave me a lot more ideas about keeping track of the weather, the clouds, just doing it almost like a farmer's almanac in a way. You write down if it's a sunny day or if it's windy, and it helped me to have ideas on how to fill up an outside landscape painting journal. And also, so this is an example of some I did when I'm trying to incorporate calligraphy along with some paintings. And then the third book I brought is a copy of it's called Muriel Foster's Fishing Diary. And it's a copy of a woman in Scotland and her keeping track of the fish she caught, what kind of flies she used, the animals and the birds that were in the neighborhood. And she kept this really detailed journal from 1915 until the 1940s, and it's really interesting, and I found it to be very inspiring. And it's got loads of examples, and so that's it.
I'm Cindy D. Ritter, and I'm finding that I have a very hard time getting into a journal. So I have loose pages that I've brought, and I think ideally my goal is to land in a journal someday where page after page are connected together. And I'm on the Zentangle wagon. And what I like about them is they're discreet, they're simple in pieces, and then all together they're just a beautiful collection of design. And I get my designs from online, and then I'll find something that sort of intrigues me, like making something that shows depth. It's really just lines and shadow. I really appreciate that it's black ink on white paper with a little shading and the depth that it can emerge. And then this was one that I actually was trying to get my husband to do one with me. So we each had our four corners and our strings, and he lost interest very shortly, and I asked him if I could take it over. And so, and then also realized that there's something beautiful with color as well. And you can do some of the same kind of thing, just shading with colored pencil. But I really like the art form. And I think what I'd like to do is get a Zentangle journal where page upon page is connected. So what I brought is a book called Dog People, Writers and Artists on Canine Companionship. And this was actually a gift that my husband had given me, or it was a book that he found probably for free in a book sale somewhere.
Who's the editor?
And it's edited by Michael Rosen. So there are stories, there are photographs, and then there are also just some just charming drawings, maybe even woodcuts of dogs. I'm a dog person. So there was one piece in here by a man. This was very inspiring to me. It's called Patsy. And he's just showing pieces out of his journal with his dog, Patsy, that they're going out. What I love is the writing. He says, when I'm dressed and ready to go with Patsy's field bag on my shoulder, I casually say, I thought I'd go for a long walk in the country, and if you're not doing anything, I'd love for you to join me. There's no reason for this, of course, but it amuses me. And there's just such a loose, gentle, beautiful way that he has with watercolor. And then he also talks about kind of what the dog is wearing, her equipment, and what they're seeing and doing. And it was, my watercolor is a little tighter, but this is my dog Duncan, inspired by this this sort of idea. Of course, again, it's not in a journal, but it would be great actually to have a dog journal.
I'm Ruth Webster, and I brought one of my favorites, Create Your Own Artist Journal. And when I was looking at Judith's work over there, I thought this is what she had, so I was going to just let her talk about it, but it turns out that was her original work. So it's someone that keeps an artist journal. Her name is Erin O'Toole. And many of you talked about working outside, and I guess this would be a goal of mine, to put something together like that. And then the other one is just, I was demonstrating to my students what doodling was and the importance of doodling for artists for discovery. And just playing around, we did Zentangles as well. So I put together in a book just some ideas for doodling so that they would start to see how the variety, that if you love soft lines or hard lines, black and whites, colors. So it's just a variety of doodling. And it helped inspire them with ideas when they couldn't come up with them. And colors in black and white. And then we tried the Zentangle patterns too for inspiration.